What's going on, everyone? In today's video I'm going to tell you all about the Airsoft Philosopher HopUp chamber. But before we get started, I wanted to let you know that when I first saw the logo, I thought it looked like the guy was taking a shit. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to tell you all about the Airsoft Philosopher HopUp chamber, which is an upgrade for your Vsr-10. This part is made in Germany and has a few extra features when comparing to the legendary Action Army HopUp chamber. But let's get right into the Philosopher chamber content by starting with what comes in the box. The package is small, but packs a powerful punch as far as good parts, I promise. The chamber is CNC machined. You get all of the hardware that's needed as well as the tools required to install this chamber. But before we start organizing everything, let's take a minute to compare the Airsoft Philosopher HopUp chamber to the hard-to-beat Action Army HopUp unit. This will help you decide which one is right for you. Side by side, they are very similar, as they should be because they are designed for the same platform. The Philosopher chamber comes with a rubber-like pad on the entry surface to the chamber. This should help with sound when returning your bolt forward. The Action Army chamber has a hop arm, where the Airsoft Philosopher chamber does not. Both of the hop units have some form of machined sleeve to secure the inner barrel in place. So those are the obvious differences at a quick glance. Let's jump right into the Airsoft Philosopher installation. Grab your outer barrel, chamber, and the complementary drill bit. The outer barrel in this video is a PDI bull barrel base. This allows you to run many outer barrel configurations, but let's just focus on the HopUp chamber. Slide the HopUp unit into the outer barrel just like any other. Install any of the small screws in this hole to hold the chamber in place. Be sure that it's snug, and then we can drill the hole for the HopUp adjustment. I almost forgot to mention that I think you should try and have this edge of the HopUp chamber magazine window flush with the back of the outer barrel window. It's not required, but I always thought it was best and help with potential magazine issues. Anyway, moving on. For this next part, I highly recommend a drill press, but not everyone has access to one, so just be careful with the standard drill. You don't have to worry though, Airsoft Philosopher made this next part a piece of cake. With the chamber in place, the provided drill bit is a direct fit through this hole. Keeping the empty chamber installed while you drill is perfectly fine, just as long as you blow out any excess shavings when you're all done. Now we can get into the assembly portion of this video. Start by laying out all of your parts like this. Screenshot this picture if you'd like for a reference, but I'll be using it to point out specific screws and hardware. I decided to start with the BB stoppers. There is one per side and each stopper consists of 3 pieces. The stopper itself, a spring, and a very short flush mount screw. Install the stopper first, then the spring, and lastly the screw. Every now and then I read about someone having issues with these backing out on the Action Army HopUp units, so I put the slightest dab of blue Loctite on the BB stopper screws. After you gently snug the BB stopper screws, we can move on. This chamber is designed for Airsoft Philosopher's barrel and bucking. However, I don't always like when things are 100% proprietary. I like to mix and match parts and install my preferences. That being said, I went with a stainless steel 601 edgy barrel, 300mm in length. The Airsoft Philosopher chamber accepts VSR buckings, so I flat hopped a random, super hard bucking that I had laying around. I flat hopped my bucking in order to run a Stalker R-Hop patch. Fun fact, a Stalker R-Hop patch fits an open window edgy barrel very nicely. I didn't make any modifications. After carefully sliding the bucking into place, I chose to Teflon seal my bucking like I always do. Cut a short piece of Teflon tape, start it about halfway over the bucking, and wrap it tight. Typically, I apply a dab of Tech T to the outside of the bucking for smooth installation into the chamber. However, the tolerances were perfect for this combination and everything fits snug with no issues. The tab on the VSR bucking will fit into this notch in the chamber. It's self-explanatory and aligns everything perfectly. Don't force anything and use lubrication if needed. But like I said, things went pretty smoothly for me considering we went in dry. Next up, we can install the chamber sleeve. Slide it over your inner barrel like this and into the chamber. Notice this alignment tab right here, as it lines up with a groove inside of the HopUp unit. It can only fit one way for it to be fully inserted. In order for the sleeve to be in all the way, the cutout in the sleeve will line up with this cutout in the chamber. Firmly press everything into place until everything appears to be lined up, and you should be good to go. Now for the C-clip. You are not required to install this piece. If you are using an Airsoft Philosopher inner barrel, it will fit. If not, you do not need it. My VSR cut edgy barrel does not have the notches to accommodate this HopUp unit. However, I wanted to install the C-clip. If you are running a different barrel, you can modify the clip with a file or Dremel so it will clear your inner barrel. I used the Dremel and carefully shaved off a portion of the alignment tabs on each side of the C-clip. If you have the proper barrel or decide to make the clip work, slide it in place and use these screws to install it. Once again, you don't have to waste your time with this, it was my choice. An AEG barrel would work, but then you'd have to modify a VSR bucking. For 100% compatibility, you need the proprietary Airsoft Philosopher barrel or a dual cut barrel like Action Army, Maple Leaf, or possibly an edgy special request. Anyway, to pick up where we left off, you can install these two set screws. They are the small grub screws and they thread into the sides of the chamber, through the sleeve, and contact the inner barrel. They help with stabilization, and just like an Action Army chamber, you want to tighten them gently and evenly. Go back and forth when tightening these two screws so the pressure is even until they are snug. If you don't do this, it is possible to develop a curve. Now we can drop in the nub, which is absolutely massive. Look at how big it is compared to a standard Maple Leaf Omega AEG nub. It's absolutely insane. The theory behind it is if you have more contact surface on the BB, you will have more consistent backspin, range, and accuracy. I personally don't believe any of that is guaranteed. I think it's all opinion based. It's a neat concept though. I was worried that the nub would be too large for my barrel and bucking combination since I didn't use Airsoft Philosopher's barrel with an equally massive window. Turns out the nub wasn't too wide, but it was too long. Originally, I wasn't able to apply hop because the nub would hit my edgy barrel window. I chose to modify the nub slightly so it would clear my barrel and apply hop properly. If you choose to run a different barrel like I did, things will now be easier for you. The Gen 2 Airsoft Philosopher chamber now comes with two nubs, the newer one being designed for normal barrel window sizes, like my edgy barrel. So drop in whatever nub you're using and then install the TDC plate. Use these two tapered head screws. TDC stands for top dead center, and it's an adjustment system for easily adjustable and evenly pressured HopUp application. Having a built-in TDC is a very nice feature and probably the main reason I'd recommend the Airsoft Philosopher HopUp chamber over the Action Army. However, if you have the Action Army HopUp unit with a homemade or Tridose TDC, you can still achieve the same performance. But once you tighten down your adjuster plate screws, the baseline installation is pretty much complete. I would just thread your knob in and apply some hop to make sure it's being applied evenly to the naked eye. The hop adjustment knob will go through the hole you drilled earlier once you assemble everything into your outer barrel. This is a Gen 1 chamber, so it just has a simple knob that threads in. The Gen 2 now comes with an upgraded low-profile clicky TDC base. It can be attached to your outer barrel with epoxy or 3M tape, and the knob has precise clicks for a more firm hop-up adjustment. I hope I covered everything that you need to know. Once you get your rifle back together, you can try out your brand new Airsoft Philosopher hop-up chamber. With that being said, it's time for the shooting test. For this video, my spring-powered Vsr-10 was shooting around 2.1 joules with a .48 gram BB. The first target was a crabapple ranged at 100 feet.
Height is right. Height is correct, but it's shooting just to the left of it. Two of my shots went to the left.
I think I went over it.
How many BBs do you have in a mag?
These hold 55 each.
Nice. So you bring.
Oh!
I was able to hit the apple on my second shot, not too bad. But for the real test, I had my friends shoot at each other from a little over 300 feet away.
102 yards. It's a little over 300 feet. We'll try and... So, when I shoot you, do you mind if we try and get a couple more than one?
No, I don't care. At that range, it's going to die off.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
So.
I mean, I appreciate you getting shot by it, but it shouldn't hurt that bad. So, I don't want to shoot him in the head, but for some of the shots, I put the crosshairs on his head. But at that range, it drops.
Wow, you can really see him.
Yeah. Well, the fucking scope's at like 10x, I think. Oh.
Up.
Yeah, that went up. Did that hit him?
You're going above him again. Oh. Oh. I think I went over his shoulder.
Oh, it's close. Oh.
Damn it.
That get him.
Yep.
All right, we'll do one more.
Alright.
Make it count.
Hit in the dick.
Oh, you get him.
Is that still considered a headshot? Either way, if my airsoft gun can land a 300-foot shot, I'm happy. I would definitely recommend the Airsoft Philosopher HopUp chamber, but keep in mind you can achieve the same performance with other HopUp units, although the built-in TDC is quite nice. For more shooting footage, check out my modular Vsr-10 video by clicking on this link. I will also have future gameplays with this setup, so keep an eye out. Thanks for watching everyone, see you around.